What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Talking Elite Fitness. The whole gang is here. I'm Sean Woodland with Lauren Khalil. Lauren, how are you?
I am fantastic. Just ate some
Wonderful.
delicious chicken.
Congratulations, and featuring Tommy Marquez. Tommy, how are you?
I am great. I don't have chicken, but
At least I have chicken.
at least I have chicken.
Well, we have some things to talk about today. We're going to go through some headlines. We're going to hear from the former two-time CrossFit Games champion, Justin Medeiros, an interview that Tommy did with him earlier in the week when we announced that he will be one of the athletes participating in the TYR Cup at TYR Wodapalooza SoCal in September. Tommy was able to talk to him, and he has some cool thoughts about getting ready for the games and getting back on track and trying to get himself back on the podium. And then we're going to have a little fun and discuss what we think could be the new movement at the CrossFit Games this year. Dave Castro, in one of his athlete interviews, and I'm sorry that I do not know which one, but has said that there will be a new movement to the games this year.
Lisa Filiano.
Dun, dun, dun.
It was Lisa Filiano. Thank you, Tommy. Okay, so let's jump right into it. There was some news that broke today, and this is the long continuing saga of one Ilya Makarov, who announced on Instagram that he cannot get a visa to make it over to the United States to compete. And this is from the Morning Chalk Up. Games qualifier out of Asia, Ilya Makarov, stated that his visa was denied. Makarov finished 5th in the Far East Throwdown, later taking a qualifying spot due to 3 men who finished ahead of him testing positive for performance-enhancing drugs. So right now, I mean, I don't know how you backfill that spot with the short notice, but it looks like Arthur Semenov is going to be the only guy who's going to represent the Asia semifinal at the CrossFit Games.
Historically, they don't backfill this.
Mm-hmm.
So, this has happened with Roman, with other athletes who have been unable to get their visa.
Mm-hmm.
CrossFit has typically taken the stance that that spot is yours and it is earned and it is still yours. And barring any travel or visa issues, it gets to remain yours because you haven't lost that spot due to any breaches of the athlete conduct or whatever you want to call it. But I mean, honestly, at this point, they should just do the average Joe lane for
Right.
hey, well, the person in seat C16,
congratulations,
down, yeah,
you get to do Chad.
yeah,
Yay.
You're sure. Yeah, you're going to be in lane 40.
yep.
Enjoy yourself. But I don't know. I think that it's funny because in Asia, it's always like, would they have 6 events of the semifinals?
Yep.
There's 2 more after that. There's event 7, that's the drug test, and now event 8 has become, can you get a visa if you're a Russian athlete? Now I don't know if this gets any easier if the games were being held in Europe. I mean, that could be a byproduct of moving it overseas. I don't know enough about the process to speculate on that.
I mean, that's tough because how do you constantly weigh the and test the temperature of geopolitical issues? Right. Mm-hmm. Who knows that if it goes to UK or France, some other random country historically that we didn't anticipate because we're so US centric, has this issue and suddenly a whole another slew of athletes can't go. It's it could be an issue. It could not be, but either way, it's just something that's unfortunate. And I mean, it's hard to understand whether or not these athletes can go through the same channels that Roman did. There was obviously impetus for Roman because he's a perennial games qualifier. Mm-hmm. And some of these athletes, they don't know if they're here today, gone tomorrow, scenario, but maybe that's a resource.
And at the time, Roman was working with Snorri Barron, and I know that he was helping him represent and filling out all the paperwork and going through all the hoops. So I imagine if you have a manager, it might be a little bit easier, and you have a little bit of notoriety as you're trying to gain the visa. But I mean, what was that, 4 years that it took him to finally get one? It definitely isn't something that happens overnight.
Yeah, it's too bad for Ilya Makarov. I mean, we said before, and this is no offense to him. Sure, he's a great guy, but I don't think he was going to go to Texas and not get cut.
Yeah.
No, but at least curiosity.
Sure.
If maybe, because I don't know enough about him, maybe he's a home run hitter in something and could impress us with one of the events. I don't know. It just,
it would have
you
to
know,
be
it,
one of,
it,
yeah, it would have to be one of the outside the box type events, right? Because
we
he
didn't see
wasn't
it.
capable of hitting home runs in a big way at the Asia semifinals.
sure.
And so it'd have to be like a run swim or something like that, where like you've got something in your back pocket from, you know, competing on the Junior Olympics or something that we haven't been able to track.
Yeah.
Or something single modality where you're just a stud in that.
Yeah. All right. Well, the next thing we want to talk about is the Rogue Invitational, and the qualifier has now been made public, and pop this up on the screen as to when that is going to be. But that is taking place September 6th through the 9th. So we have the dates for the qualifier for the Rogue Invitational. So people can start to sign up for that in the near future. I don't know how many spots. Like, I think last year they took what, 5 out of that?
5-ish. Yeah.
And 5-ish. Yes. And they have, of course, that new ranking system that's going to help play into who goes, who fills those. And I'm assuming it's still going to be 20 spots.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's like years past, the last 5 will be determined by the qualifier. Again, September 6th is when that starts.
And you know, I guess let this be another way that, you know, Rogue has kind of led the way, I guess. But you might look at that and be like, wow, qualifiers happening, what, 7 weeks before the competition happens?
Mm-hmm.
You can only do that if you have someone like Rogue that's also providing travel stipends and things like that help cover the cost, because that turnaround for athletes booking and finding accommodations is really, really short.
Mm-hmm.
But it almost frees up some leeway on the calendar for them to do that because they have set that money aside. So when we talk about like how events run qualifiers, raise money, create earning opportunities, and build this structure that's repeatable, one of the ways that gives them leeway on that schedule is this, and providing travel stipends, which I think is huge, especially when you go overseas to a place like Scotland.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Do we know if they're going to do? I think they're going to do the Legends again, because I think they have announced that they're having that Legends happy hour again.
Maybe the Legends is just beer Olympics.
Wow, I would pay good money to see that.
So would I.
I think they are. I think they are still having the Legends happy hour.
Let's get some Bulmer's cider in there, like the boot chug or something. Pint chug.
Have you ever done the donut mile?
No,
I'd like to.
Oh, that's fun. I mean, your belly's gonna hurt after, but
is it any donut?
I've only done what are the famous glazed ones? What Krispy Kreme.
Oh, crispy.
But those are so easy to put down. Yeah. And you squish them. It's basically just air.
Can I eat all 4 of them at once and then just run the mile?
No, you eat one every lap, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm saying like Krispy Kreme or nothing. I ate 12.
You just want to front load.
Yeah, I ate 12 of them at a time. So
that's
I
nothing.
think it actually might have been 16. I think it was 4 4-packs I ate, but yeah.
Sheesh. But yes, there is a Legends happy hour going on at this year's Rogue Invitational, which is a fantastic time. So yeah, that's I hope we get to see them out on the competition floor again, because that's always fun. All right, the next thing we want to talk about, speaking of competitions, is, and we've been fortunate enough to be partnering with TYR for this, is the athletes that will be participating in the TYR Cup at TYR Wodapalooza SoCal in September have been trickled out. We are announcing them live. We have one more to go that we're announcing, right? Then it's captains, and then the final athlete that the captains are going to choose, correct? Or do we have, how many do we have?
We have one more athlete.
We have one more. There's still going to be a few more. We'll hand the baton off. And then ultimately there's going to be a vote, I believe, on the captains. And then the captains will pick the last female and male on their teams as well. So lots to chew on still.
We have 7 announced. So this is let's go with team. We'll go with Team North America first. Jeff Adler, Danielle Brandon, and Justin Medeiros. How about that?
Yep.
That's a murderer's
Some
row.
strong hitting players.
Yeah. Pipe hitting MFers, as our friend Pat Sherwood used to say.
Mm-hmm.
For the world team, Tia Toomey, okay, Lazar Jukic, and Sayar Kaya. Those are your three.
I like that Sarah made it.
I do too.
Yeah.
So truly like a world team.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, she's steadily improving. I think we'll probably see an even better version at the games this year. But Tia and Lazar both win events at the game, so some of the single modality stuff that you're going to get, and then you mix in someone that I believe she represents Turkey, but she trains in Norway.
I think so. Yeah. But if you look at what she's done over the past couple of years, and I'm looking it up right now, Sayar Kaya at the semifinal level has been just dominant. She won
2 years in a row.
4 of the 6 events this past year in 2024. And then if you go back to 2023, she won 4 of the 7 events. And the lowest she's ever finished the last 2 years at semis is 5th. So she's been in a class all by herself over there. So I think that is an athlete in Sayar Kaya who is now in a team setting too, can come and really fit in with this group. She's not going to be like a weak link.
No, not at all.
But I'm really looking forward to that TYR Cup. That's going to be
not even halfway, right, with each of those teams. So
yeah, 3 per team so far.
Man, this large team format dynamic is going to be really fun.
Well, I'm going to continue to beat this drum.
Beat it loud and proud.
If this competition goes the way I think it's going to be, and has the appeal that I think it's going to have, this should be, other competitions should take a serious look at this format for how they should start doing team competitions. I think it injects a lot of intrigue and excitement into it. I love the captains thing and the strategy of who's going to go where, like the Ryder Cup. I think I think this is a real home run. I think people are going to have fun watching it, and it's cool to see. And Dave Castro alluded to this, but I think he was talking to was it Saxon Panchik, one of the Panchik twins, about, hey, would we move the team competition so athletes can do both? People want to see individual athletes compete together on a team. It's what makes Wodapalooza in Miami so fun. This is the way, like, if you really want eyeballs on the team competition and you want people to get excited about it, I think this might be the future of it.
Well, because it also adds interest to how are these individuals going to compete with their competitors? Like that, to me, that storyline is, okay, is everybody gonna get along? Like, is everybody going to be able to communicate? You have a lot of alpha personalities. So who's going to ultimately take charge? And are more than one person going to, and it leads to chaos? Who knows?
Yeah, plus the potential for trash talking and just all kinds of good. Like this it's just,
bring it on.
For an entertainment value from the team side. I don't know how you beat this. This is I think it's going to be really good. Okay, next thing, let's now pivot to the games. So the start time for event number 1, which is the run swim event, has been announced. So they're going to go early. It's 7 a.m. local time in Fort Worth. So it's only going to be 150 at that time, Tommy?
And Dave said in one of the interviews, and again, I can't remember who it was with, but Dave said that they are going to have the demo team test it either this week or next week. And if the heat plays too much of a factor and is too bad, he has no problem moving it earlier to 6 a.m.
Yeah, that's good. So they're trying to do what they can to keep the athletes safe. Now, you guys had a discussion on Death By about the water and testing the water and making sure that's all good. And I don't know if there are plans for that, but at least they are very, they're very aware of, hey, we're not going to do this in the middle of the day when the heat could be a significant factor. It will be warm, but probably at that time, I don't know, 80 degrees, 75, 80 degrees in there. So warm, but not, this is going to really damage some people. But he also, Dave, on top of that, said that we know the 2 events. There are going to be 2 events outdoors. That's it. This one that's going to be 7 a.m. and then the one on Friday night that's going to be under the lights in the football stadium.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And that I think he said this on his weekend review. We wanted to get this out of the way, so it's like, here are your 2 outdoor events. That's it. Now, it would have been nice had they said that, like say that once you make that second announcement, be like, this is all for the right there. This is all for the outdoor events, and that's it. But good that they're communicating that. Now athletes know that there's just only 2 outdoor events. But I think 7 a.m., I think it'll be an early morning. I can't remember the last time they started an event
that early.
Maybe, I'm trying to think, way back in 2011, the first beach event that they did.
That was super early.
That was early, but I think it was 7 a.m.
What?
That wasn't 7 a.m., was it?
Yeah, and neither was Pendleton. But I know, I mean, I kind of count it as being that early, but flying down to Aromas, that required the athletes to be up and early and like kind of almost in game mode. Because one, you didn't know when and where you were competing, and then suddenly you were hopping on a flight, and so it's like, what's going to happen here?
But, they told them like to be downstairs with their passport at at 6 a.m. or something crazy.
Yeah.
Did anybody miss the flight?
No.
Or almost missed the flight? Do you know?
No, I don't think anybody almost missed. I mean, they were pretty on that. And then you mentioned Pendleton. I remember. I think our crew call for that was like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Then we had to bus. That was terrible.
Based on like the current weather forecast, it doesn't look like it's going to break 80 degrees till like close to 10 a.m. in Fort Worth.
Oh,
if that holds, August could be a little bit hotter. I'm not super familiar with it, but it looks to be somewhat similar. Hopefully that's the case, and that should be manageable.
Yeah. And then segueing off of that, Dave talked to Grace Walton in one of his interviews, and she asked him about the number of events, and he said, I think basically what everybody kind of assumed anyway, they have found a sweet spot that's usually between 12 and 15 events. Now, I'd be shocked if they're going 15. I think it's probably closer to 12. That gives you 3 per day for 4 days. And if you wanted to just do 2 on a day, you could, and then you could load up a Saturday or a Sunday with 4.
Or have 2 scores.
Sure. That's a good point too. I don't think they're going to go. I don't think they're going to go 15. I'd be really surprised. 15.
Yeah.
Well, and during that interview, Dave talked about how over the years they've realized that sometimes you can put the athletes into too deep of a hole if you have too much. I don't think he used the word volume, but too many events. Or Tommy's smiling. What is he thinking?
Like, you think?
Yeah, right.
Dirt.
You mean in 2018 when you do a criterion race, 30 months less for time, CrossFit Total, and then you make them row a marathon, that might have a lasting effect. Shocked.
Maybe just a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's we assume these athletes are like, superhuman, which in many ways they are compared to the average person. But it's like, yeah, if you beat the crap out of somebody, it's going to take a little while to recover.
Well, Davis said it's my job to test the athletes, not showcase them.
For sure.
But you do need to be able to showcase you want them to showcase what they can do to get people interested in what's happening here. Like you don't want a bunch of people standing in front of an implement or barbell and you don't want a bunch of people failing because of fatigue. You want it, like, there is a sweet spot that you need to hit there.
For sure.
You do need to have some people fail.
Sure. And you also need to have a test that is physically possible to pass.
Correct.
Right. Mm-hmm. And otherwise it's just a beat down. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of, and this isn't necessarily aimed at the games, but I think that's a trap that a lot of competitions outside of the game season fall into. And like, you see local competitions and competitions that are trying to make a name for themselves, just literally throwing the kitchen sink at some of these athletes. And you're like, yeah, it's like, they're like, look how hard it is. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of not the point.
Right.
But it's part of the difficulty is also going to be in the effort that you put forth. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Last thing we want to do, as you guys know, for the past couple of weeks in the dog days of summer, we have been partnering with our good friends at Barbells for Bullies to try to get some dogs adopted. And our dog league Arizona, 6-year-old female who is active, loving, craves structure, loyal, knows commands, kind of dog selective. But this dog is located in Chattanooga. She is a shelter favorite, so she's been there for a while. So they're really hoping that they can find her forever home. And this was a special request to us to Barbells for Bullies by a former CrossFitter. So they had to say, yeah, sure, we'll do this. But a sweet, playful girl who is looking for her forever home. She is working on her training and even comes with training sessions with at the Dog Wizard Chattanooga. So if you're interested and in the Chattanooga area, reach out today. Her adoption fee is covered as well. And if you're outside the area and you want to give Arizona a chance, you can get a hold of Barbells for Bullies because they are really good at helping facilitate out-of-state adoptions. But Arizona, she is our dog of the week. There she is in all her glory, looking good. But if you want to adopt a dog and
I want all of them.
I do too. I'd take them. Like if I won the lottery and just didn't have to work again, I would just open like a sanctuary for rescue animals and just have a big piece of land and just dogs out there.
Yeah.
If I ever retire media, I'm gonna be on a farm somewhere, laying in the grass with all of the dogs.
All of them. Just bring them in. Let's just have some fun. But barbellsforbullies.com is where you can go. You can follow Barbells for Bullies on Instagram. They do great work, and they can help you too if you're a gym that's interested in maybe doing some benefit work for a local shelter in your area. What Barbells for Bullies will do is Alex and Lindsay will help you set up a competition that you can host at your gym. Entry fee is usually just like bring a can of food, bring some food, or bring some dog toys or something, and then they'll do like Helen for Hounds or something else. So they're a great organization that does fantastic work, and we're glad to help them out, try to find some dogs some homes. So Arizona, our dog of the week, barbellsforbullies.com or at Barbells for Bullies on Instagram. And Arizona, again, is located in Chattanooga, Tennessee at the Dog Wizard Chattanooga is who's going to offer free training sessions. So let's get Arizona their forever home.